Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. So today we'll discuss about what are the uses of JavaScript. Why to learn JavaScript? So is JavaScript really necessary? In order to survive in software industry, is JavaScript really necessary? If you want to take JavaScript as your career, like if you want to do job in a software company and if the requirement is JavaScript, so first, frame a question in your mind, into your mind, whether JavaScript is useful or not. Let's see currently where JavaScript stands in the current IT industry. So, is it really needed to learn JavaScript? And let's see what are the different benefits of learning JavaScript. Is JavaScript easy to learn? Okay. So, is there any promising career if you learn JavaScript? Let's see. So how JavaScript is scripting the future of software development. Okay. So JavaScript has been associated with creating enhanced user experience and can be truly be the future of software development. Okay. So the first and foremost important thing is user experience. So if user experience is wonderful, then that technology we can easily learn that technology. So user experience is the most important fact. Okay, there are a number of reasons for its sheer popularity. So why JavaScript has become that much popular? So what are the reasons behind that? Highly advantageous for beginners. It's the only client-side scripting language being extensively used by most organizations for internal development. So all the organizations for internal development, they're mainly focused upon the client-side scripting. So client-side scripting is purely for beginners. So everyone can easily learn the syntax and easily do the programming, and they can be a part of the organization development. Okay, if we see the much importance of this, a website is built over scripts using a language, but without any life in it, no one fancies it. So a website is popularly built using a language. Okay, so built over scripts using a language. Without it, there is no life. JavaScript is a language which turns a site interactive and gives it life in the real sense. For example, you are writing a HTML code, we are writing a CSS. So even though we write HTML and CSS, your website will look beautiful, but it doesn't mean that your website is interactive. For example, if you want to insert a digital clock, or if you want to insert, if you want to get alert in your website, so all this we can't do in HTML and CSS, right? So HTML is for writing the code, CSS is for applying the styles for it. But if you want to make your website interactive, so must and should we should focus upon JavaScript. Okay. So in the initial days, no much importance was given to the JavaScript by developers, as it was more associated with creating user experience and no way similar to other scripting languages of Python, Ruby. So it's not similar to Python and Ruby. But with the passage of time, business owners understood the importance of user engagement, and JavaScript got the respect it deserved. So previously in the olden days, JavaScript has doesn't have that much importance, but by the days passing on, they understood the importance of JavaScript. Okay. Now, if we see the current trends, JavaScript is the number one most used language on GitHub. So we have a GitHub repository, right? So as per that trends, we can see JavaScript the number one most used language on the GitHub. So if you see the graph here, okay, see this is the percentage annual, and I'm giving up to 2013. Now it is 2021. You can understand the graph. So JavaScript. So even though Python has much more importance than JavaScript, so Python also gained importance when compared with JavaScript. So even though JavaScript is a winner, okay. So you can see how it is, how JavaScript is increasing. So this is about GitHub repositories, okay. So in 2021 also JavaScript is a winner. So if you want your website to be interactive, so must and should we need JavaScript. So even though by days passing on, we got many JavaScript libraries, Okay. So now let's see the reasons for popularity. So why it is that popular? So software development in India has been always known for its quality. JavaScript is a major scripting language which is used in most of the organizations for internal development. So in any organization for internal development, so JavaScript is used. There are several reasons due to which it has maintained its distinctive edge. So first one is client-side scripting language. That's it's in almost every website of the world. So client-side scripting language is the most and the first important thing. So as we know that this language runs in the browser, so a person thinking about using it just needs a text editor and a browser to open the same. Okay. So first he needs a text editor. He will do in it and he will open the browser and he will check. So it's purely client-side scripting. So you write, you check, right? So this is highly advantageous. The latest development regard to making JavaScript more developer friendly is CoffeeScript. So and its performance benefit. So to begin with, one can develop a complete site with it by using Node.js and MongoDB. It goes well with big data concepts as Node.js is asynchronous, making it scalable. Okay. So, and the most important thing is it the future of scripting? Okay. So now HTML5. JavaScript actually, which has done so in all places where earlier there was a need of Flash element, JavaScript has covered the ground. Now we'll see why millions of developers use JavaScript for web application development. Okay. So why millions of users are using JavaScript? So what are the reasons behind that? Okay. So if you see over the past 20 years or so since JavaScript was released, so it has been almost 20 years JavaScript was released. It has become the most popular programming language for web development today. So without JavaScript, there is no web development. We can't assume web development without JavaScript. So you can understand the importance of Java as a web development language from the fact that as per the recent reports, JavaScript is currently being used by more than 94% of all the websites. So in 94% of all the websites, JavaScript has been using. So it's a client-side programming language which helps web developers to do web application development. And the most important thing is your website is dynamic and interactive. Okay, that's the most important. So if you write a static website, okay, so that's not much importance. Why? Because your website should be dynamic and it should be interactive as well. Okay, so developers can also use cross-platform runtime just like Node.js to write server-side code. So just now we said that we have a client-side scripting, so we can also write server-side scripting using Node.js. Developers can also create web pages which works well across various browsers, platforms, and devices by combining JavaScript, HTML5, and CSS3. So HTML5 plus CSS3 plus JavaScript. So we can make beautiful websites and that too interactive as well as dynamic. So there are many frameworks as well. So frameworks including AngularJS, React.js, Node.js. So why these frameworks? So what are these frameworks? So using these frameworks, you can reduce the amount of time and efforts for developing JS-based sites. So why? Because we can directly include the framework like AngularJS, React.js, Node.js, etc. So the most important thing is we should choose the right JavaScript framework. So you should have basic knowledge of different JavaScript frameworks. Popular JavaScript frameworks are Angular, React.js, Ember.js, Vue.js. So we have, as the time has been passing by, we are getting more and more JavaScript frameworks. But end of the day, whatever framework you use, it's mainly for making your website interactive as well as dynamic. Okay. So using JavaScript framework, you can finish the creation of JavaScript applications quickly. So that's the most important thing, right? So if it takes more time, then who will use this framework? So if you are using an active WordPress developer, then you should have sufficient knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, what are the benefits of using JavaScript? So we are saying that JavaScript has become popular. So now see what are the different benefits of using JavaScript. JavaScript is cross-browser compatible. So what is cross-browser compatible? You can use, it is supported in Opera, it is supported in Google Chrome, it is supported in Internet Explorer, it is supported in Firefox, it is supported in Safari. So that's the reason it is a cross-browser compatible. Okay. They can just enable JavaScript language if it is disabled and can enjoy all the functions of the site. And the next one, JavaScript comes with a lot of libraries and frameworks. This is the most important thing. So For any language to become popular, so it mainly depends upon the libraries as well as the different frameworks. Okay, so JavaScript has enormous amount of lots of libraries and frameworks. So JavaScript frameworks and libraries make it easy for web developers to build large JavaScript-based web applications. There are many dynamic JS frameworks like AngularJS, React.js, Ember.js, so on. So we have many frameworks. Using these frameworks, developers can easily, quickly, and efficiently develop highly interactive and professional looking web applications. And the most important thing is highly efficient, effective, and professionally looking. Your website looks professional. Okay, so JavaScript has a lot of libraries which can use as per your requirements. For example, you can do GUI development using widgets like Bootstrap. So we can use Bootstrap, we can use jQuery or AngularJS. Easy to write JavaScript code without using any specific tool. So it's very dead easy to write JavaScript code without using any specific tool. Like you can just open a notepad, or you can use Notepad++, or you can use Visual Studio Code, VSC, or you can also go for different online editors. You can write JavaScript code over there. So but the first and foremost basic tool is using Notepad, okay, or Notepad++, right? Simplify complex web application development. So JavaScript is an interpreted programming language. So it is an interpreted programming language. Still, it simplifies development of complex web applications by allowing the developers to simplify the application's compositions. The developers can use JavaScript libraries to create DOM boundaries. So what is DOM? So DOM boundaries, document object model. So DOM stands for document object model. So in JavaScript, we show document.write. So everything is a document, and it's an object. Okay, so we have JSON, so JavaScript object notation. So everything in JavaScript is an object. So we call it as JSON, JavaScript object notation. So this shadow DOM further makes web browsers deliver documents with widely used HTML tags like select, div, and input. Responsive web design. This is the most important feature of JavaScript. So why JavaScript is used widely? Nowadays, most developers do responsive web design to make a website accessible and works well across multiple browsers and devices like smartphones and desktops. So responsive in the sense, for example, if you want to view your website in a smartphone, so it looks perfectly well in smartphone. If you want to view it in a tablet, so it should be responsive. So if you want to look your website in a laptop, if you want to look website in your desktop, like that, so it should be responsive. Okay. So the developers have to combine the CSS3, HTML5, and JavaScript to make the web pages responsive. And the last and foremost important thing is Google AMP project. So Google has started the Accelerated Mobile Pages AMP projects to create websites which deliver rich user experience across various mobile devices. So all these are done using HTML5, CSS3, and the most important one, JavaScript. So means the developers have to use JavaScript for optimizing websites for mobile devices for AMP. So they use JavaScript for optimizing purpose. Websites for mobile devices for AMP. So Google AMP project, responsive web design, simplify complex web application development, easy to write JavaScript code without using any specific tool. JavaScript comes with a lot of libraries and frameworks. JavaScript is cross-browser compatible. So with all this, we can straight away say that JavaScript is a beautiful language to be learned, and it's very easy to learn. Okay, for beginner level, it's a client-side programming, you can easily learn. And if you want to go to the expert level, you can learn Node.js. Okay, so you can learn different frameworks and you can work on it. So, anyways, I hope you understood what are the different benefits of JavaScript. Anyways, I am uploading JavaScript videos also. You can go to my channel and you can check the playlist over there. So I hope you understood the why JavaScript, what are the uses of JavaScript or benefits of using JavaScript. So the students who are watching the channel for the first time, I request you to please subscribe my channel and please share my videos to your friends and well-wishers, and please support my channel in all possible ways. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.